good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the Tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand and all's well in your world. People of the Tube, I believe this is the first Laney amp ever to appear on this channel. And by jingo, is this thing immense. People of the Tube, let me introduce you to the Laney Linebacker 100 watt reverb head. I'm in love. I've tried a lot of Laneys over my years of playing guitar, and I have yet to warm to a single one of them. I did try a supergroup back when I was in Old Hat. We had an old supergroup that sounded great. The only way it sounded great though was by being cranked, and then you would die of volume poisoning. It would just literally put you through the wall. It'd be like the beginning of Back to the Future. It had to be so loud to sound good, but my god, it was a sound. It really was. Anyway, I haven't really been interested in Laney. And then literally since maybe kind of like October last year, something was telling me to get one of these. I had seen I've never played through one of these things before I bought it. But I had seen this guy playing through one years and years and years ago, and I always thought it sounded good. But I never really, it was at a gig, and I didn't have a chance to play on it myself, and one of these never came into Old Hat or anything like that, and I've never actually played through one. So, but for some reason, something was telling me, you need to get a Laney Linebacker 100. And I was like, what? Really weird, Poochie. I don't really understand it, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Anyway, this came up for sale near Queenie's for less than £100. These things are cheap. They're quite hard to find for some reason, but they are really cheap. And I was just like, I'm getting it. I'm having it. And literally, I've fallen in love with this amp. It's absolutely amazing. This is one of those amps that I can see me having for a long time. I really can, unless something goes wrong and I've got to sell it, in which case, damn, is the word there. But hopefully that won't happen, people of Tube. I will sell other things before I sell this. So, what is it? So this one I believe was made in 1988. I could be wrong on that one. I forget the date this thing was made, but this is a late 80s solid state 100 watt amp. Technically, it's a 2-channel amplifier with a master section. You've got an effects loop in back, 2 speaker outputs. This thing is loud as all hell. Like, I've got it on 1 today, so basically like I don't know what's that, 8 o'clock on the dial. If I get it to 2. It's gig volume. It's so loud. When I was just messing around with it before the video, I had it on 2. And I was just like, I can't be in the room with it like that. And then lo and behold, I noticed it was way too loud. I turned it down. And I've got it on 1 now, and which is a pretty nice volume. It's still loud. This thing doesn't really do quiet. When you turn the volume all the way down, the amp still makes noise. Let's put it that way. It's ridiculous. Once you turn the volume all the way off, the amp still makes noise. It's still there. And it doesn't do quiet, really. This is a very loud head. I can't really recommend this head for kind of late night practice or anything like that. It's not that kind of thing. This is a gigging recording amp. It's so loud, but my god, it sounds good. It's a very dark voice amp. So I say, let's talk about specs first before we get into talk about tone. So 2-channel amps. You've got channel A, channel B, and you've got a master section. So channel A is a master volume for channel A, so volume for channel A, treble, mid, bass is your EQ section, standard free band EQ, and a gain. And the really cool thing about channel A, on the treble, middle, bass, and gain, you have it to push pull. So you can pull it out for a mid boost, treble boost, bass boost, and gain boost, which is very, very cool. So it's kind of like the bells and whistles channel, that is. Channel B is exactly the same, apart from it doesn't have push pulls. It's just volume, treble, middle, bass, and gain, and that's your lot. This thing overdrives, people of the Tube, in probably one of the most gorgeous ways I've ever heard an amp overdrive. This thing is dark, but it's fat. It's a fat sounding amp. And then over here, people of the Tube, you've got your master section. So you've got a master volume for the entire amp here, again, which I've got set at about 8 o'clock, 1 now. Reverb, master reverb goes over the whole amp, and you've got a master presence dial as well, which goes over both channels. I actually have to use the treble and the presence dial on this amp, people of the Tube. I can't, unless I'm plugging straight into it, in which case I won't use the treble. But for my pedal board, I had to have a presence cranked all the way to 10, which I don't mind. I like presence. I don't like treble, but I love presence. And I had to have the treble turned up as well, because it was just too dark and it was just so bassy. And I've got the bass on 0, but it was too bassy and too heavy, and it's such a beefy sounding amplifier. This is absolute monster. And I say 100 watt. This is probably the loudest 100 watt head I own by far. It beats the Marshalls. It definitely beats the Oranges. The Oranges are really, really quiet. Like the CL120 and the Super Crush, they're really, really quiet amplifiers. They're not loud at all. This is easily the loudest 100 watt head I own. It's just absolutely outrageous. Yeah, it's there's not many places you could go with this one and you wouldn't be heard. But yeah, it's a solid state amp, and you know, I'm in love. So I thought what I'd do today, people tube, is usual thing really. I'm going to show you it first off with my pedal board. I'm going to plug the Oswald back in and show you my pedal board, show you like different sounds like the Governor, the Golden Plexi. It just clean, how I've got it set clean, and basically just kind of like show you some kind of like, you know, sounds from my pedals and show you how it sounds, how it takes pedals. And after that, we're going to unplug the pedal board and go straight into this thing with a couple of different guitars. I really wish I had my P90 Les Paul here, but I don't. But that's okay. We'll get around it. And also, people tube, later on, we're going to plug in the treble booster into it as well to try and get some more Tone Iommi things. I'll show you individual channels as well. So I'll show you channel A, channel B, and also a really cool thing about this amp, people tube, is you've got 3 inputs. That's input A, that's input B, and this is channel mix, so you can get both channels together. So it's basically jumper into channels. So it's just ridiculous. They thought of everything with this amp. It got an effects loop in the back as well. You got a line out in the back as well as like a DI. I haven't tried any of that. Again, I'm not really using that. I want to use it through the cab and catch it on the SM57. Anyway, PeelTube, that's enough whiffle waffle. Oh, by the way, as well, quickly, there's an input here as well. If anybody wonders what this is, this is for a foot switch to turn reverb off and on, and to channel switch if you want to. When you plug straight into this amp without foot switching it, both channels are engaged. So you can kind of like, you can, even if you're plugged into channel B, even if this is active, it won't do anything. And if you plug into A, channel B won't do anything. The only reason they'll start interfering with each other is if you're in the channel mix input. So anyway, PeelTube, that's enough waffle. And again, not only does it sound amazing, it looks cool as all buggery as well. I love the way this thing looks. It looks like it sounds evil. It really does. So yeah, anyway, let's make some noise. Let me show you the pedal board first, and then we'll go straight into it and just let you hear some of the monstrous tones this thing's got. It's evil. I can't wait. I haven't plugged a treble boost into it yet either, people. I was waiting for the video, and you'll hear it when I hear it. So shut up, Dave. Let's play. Okay, Pikachu, that's with the Pella wall. What we're going to do now, we're going to unplug this, and we're just going to go straight in from now on. So, I'm just going to plug that back into there quickly. So, just to let you know, I really like Channel B for pedal board. The Channel A is really good for pedals as well, but I definitely prefer Channel B. I don't know why, it just seems a bit more kind of pedal friendly, if that makes any more sense. Just to let you know how I got it set up as well. So, I had the Master the Master B volume, so the channel volume for this here. Channel B volume, get it right, Dave. He's such an idiot. Anyway, moving along. So I had the volume all the way up on 10. I had treble and middle at 6. So again, I don't really turn treble up, Pikachu, but I have to on this amp. Bass is all the way off on 0. And I've got gain at 4. So that on a clock, this would be 5 o'clock on the volume. Middle, treble and middle, I have at 1 o'clock. Bass is at 7 o'clock. And gain is at 11 o'clock. So that's how I had that set. So now, Pikachu, what I'm going to do, we're going to go straight into the amp now instead. And we're just going to plug in a couple of different amps, get it loaded, just try and get as many different tones as possible. I'm going to use single coils and humbuckers. Going to use my Oswald and the East Coast. I'm going to probably get the Oswald Telecaster as well. Hear some Telecaster tones with this thing. Maybe even a hollow bar. I don't know yet. I'm drawn to just playing extremely heavy. I wonder why. But anyway, yeah, so we'll start on channel A first. So I'll show you kind of like, clean tones, kind of semi-distorted tones, and basically full out gain, and then with the gain boost and stuff like that. I'll show you that with the single coils and humbuckers. And then we'll do channel B, same kind of thing, and then we'll do both together. And then at the end, we'll shove the treble booster in front of it and go from there. So, without further ado, Pikachu, let's plug it straight into the Laney Linebacker 100 and blow our eardrums. Okay, Pikachu, so that's just straight into channel A. Okay, so at this point in time, I've got presence all the way up still, reverb's up all the way still, master volume is still where it was. I have the master volume, channel A volume, should I say, at 8, so that's at 3 o'clock. Treble, middle, and bass are all at 4, so at 11 o'clock. And I have gain all the way up. So now what I'm going to do, Pikachu, I'm going to leave the EQ where it is, and I'm going to go through pulling each one out. So I'll pull the treble out, push it back in, pull the middle out, push it back in, and let you hear how it boosts the signal. And I'm just going to leave the EQ where it is, basically. And then we'll go over to channel B, do that, and then we'll link them together and make some more tone noises. So yeah, anyway, let's show you the boost functions. Okay, Pikachu, that's a very big plane. This is channel B, clean. Well, ish. This is just what it sounds like straight in. Okay, Pikachu, I'm having far too much fun. So that's basically that's single coil tones. I'm going to plug in the East Coast now, let you hear it with humbuckers, because I say with that gain boost. Oh, by the way, the knob falls off all the time on the gain channel on the amp. Unfortunately, I need to sort that out. But yeah, this thing. It's not a very high gain amp. Again, that's another thing as well, Pikachu. This amp it's not like, you've got tons of gain in it. I mean, you heard how much I got out of it single coils with the gain boosted. It's not a great deal. It's very, very mild. And it's got a lot in common because of that with like the supergroups. They didn't have a lot of gain in them. You can see why people like Tony Iommi used to boost their amps with the treble boost. I mean, who didn't back then? But to get more out of it, it's a very, very classic sounding amp. And I think that's the reason I love it so much. Because the Laneys I've tried in recent years have been very modern. And that sound doesn't appeal to me at all. But this one does. It's a very classic voiced amp and I love it. Anyway, let's plug some humbuckers in. Let's make some noise. Okay, so that's some tone therapy with you with the Telecaster Strat and the Les Paul. I just went downstairs to get the Telecaster and I just screamed at Queenie, I want to marry it and have its babies! And that's true. The offer still stands, by the way. He said he'll think about it. Anyway, this amp is amazing. I don't even have a word for YouTube. I'm getting a bit kind of like, yeah. It's got one of the nicest overdrives I think I've ever heard in an amp. I absolutely adore how rich it is. You know, it feels great to play through. Hopefully it'll come across well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, please. It'll come across really well on the cam. But and the mic, it just sounds in the room. It fills this room, and I say this amp fills the room like in a weird way. Like none of my amps do that. The Oranges don't do that. The Marshalls don't do that. The Boss Katanas, the Fenders, they don't do like, I don't know why, but this amp's got such a big. It's like an ogre. It's a beast. Absolute beast, I tell you. I love it. I absolutely love it a bit. It's so loud, though. I have to keep it all or in the volume level. Yeah, it does sound immense. So now what we're going to do, people, we're going to put the East Coast Les Paul back in. And what we're going to do, we're going to go into the channel mix. So now it's both channels. So up until now, what you've either heard channel B or channel A. And that's your lot. And I've been kind of like messing around with it here and there. You've heard me with the boosts. You've heard it with the gain boosts. So now what we're going to get both channels going and let you hear it with both channels. So let's plug the East Coast back in. I'll plug it back in. I'm just going to dime it, I think. I'm just going to kind of flat out and just see how much distortion we can get out of this thing. And then I'll clean it up a bit. Maybe. We'll see. Are we having fun yet? Because I am. I'm in love with the tube, and like I said, it's just immense. And I ain't even put the treble booster in yet. That's coming now. Let's put the treble booster in. Same set in both channels. Treble booster time. Let's see what happens here, shall we? Using the Hubcap John Iron Man, which is probably one of the coolest sounding and looking treble boosters of all time, bar none. I'm proper hyperactive. I bet you can't tell. Anyway, treble boost time. No treble booster. Okay, Poochie, I need to go and lie down and also rest my ears because this thing does, like I say, this thing doesn't go quiet. Where it is now is like minimal volume. Below that, the amp just kind of drops off into like mud territory and just goes really dark. So it's loud, man. This is easily the loudest amp I own. Well, one of the easiest next to the Plexi, let's put it that way. But my God, this thing is amazing. I really hope this has come across okay, Poochie. These things are insanely good. If you see one, try one. Seriously, I am blown away by it. Like I say, I've never been the biggest Laney fan. The amps I've tried just never really did what I wanted. They're always really kind of bright and harsh and never really sounded right. The supergroup sounded great, but again, you had to turn it up to volume levels that were like biblical to get it to sound where it should sound. It was like it worked in the same way as a plexi. You had to crank that thing up. You don't have to crank this one up as much, and you still get those kind of sounds. But my God, it's an amazing like classic rock, blues. It does cleans really nicely. That kind of Black Sabbath kind of Tony Iommi-esque kind of thing. It kind of gets there on its own. With a treble booster, it kicks it right into that kind of territory. And with other pedals, it'll kick it into that territory as well. Takes pedals. My God, this thing is amazing. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Like I say, you're going to see this again, picture. I'm going to leave it plugged in as well. I've been going through my CR120 here, but I'm going to play through this for a while now. So, yeah, if I'm not doing an amp demo, Laney power for me right now, because this is where I've been led. I don't really know why. Like I said, I had no reason to actively seek one of these things out. No reason. I've never liked Laney. I've given up on them. And then this thing comes along. Anyway, people of the tube, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the noise this thing's made, because I certainly have. Hopefully it came across okay. It's just a beast. Absolute monster. Absolute monster. 100 watt, yeah, loud. They do a 50 watt version. Like I say, there is a 50 watt version that's for sale near me, which I'm really tempted by. But I don't need two. That's just greedy. Is it? Nah, it's not. Anyway, I might get a 50 watt. I don't know. Probably won't, actually. He says. Another jet. You hear that? Crikey, he was low. That guy was low. Anyway, YouTube, hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a Patreon at Patreon. Link to that is in the description box below. Really helps me out, keeps the lights on, keeps me being able to power these things, pays the bills, and just helps me live. And I really appreciate it. And it helps me bring awesome things to you like this. Like I say, these are kind of like, forgotten treasures. Like a lot of the amps I own, they tend to kind of like these amps kind of fall by the wayside, especially if they're solid state, not to be horrible, but kind of like, the valve amps get precedent over things like this and this and this. Whereas I think, like I say, I've never heard a difference between solid state and valve. I stand by that and will always stand by that. I love this just as much as I would any valve amplifier. It sounds just as good to me. It really does. It's not missing anything. It's just not missing anything at all. And it makes me happy and inspires me to play. And that's all it is. Anyway, people tube, hope you enjoyed this video. Like I say, I'll see you again very soon for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. I need to rest my ears. I can feel my ears are really fatigued. It was so loud. Well, it wasn't so loud, but it was louder than it normally was in this room. Calm down, Dave. I can't calm down. Anyway, goodbye now. Thank you very much indeed.